Stage 19 was the final time trial, finishing here in Chartres, and really you had to spare a thought for the race organisers going into it. When they drew up the route last year, Christian Prudhomme and his team had envisaged this 53.5 kilometre test against the clock as the stage that would decide the yellow jersey. Instead, it had turned into a giant stage for the yellow jersey. Bradley's teammate Mark Cavendish generally potters round, saving his legs for the next sprint finish. Although I wonder if he was on a bet, because he finished in a time of 1:11:11, 1 hour, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. David Miller actually did have a bet on with his teammate David Zabriskie, with the loser having to declare publicly that he was the inferior time trialist. Well, I'm afraid Dave did come in with a time 3 minutes 10 slower than his teammate, so here's the public humiliation with Ned.
Enjoyed yourself, Dave?
No, I didn't, not at all. Been getting a kind of worse cough the last few days and just couldn't breathe, and I now understand what non-specialists feel like in time trials. It's horrible.
So, in terms of your Grand Tour time trials, that was sort of up there with the most unpleasant, was it?
Yes.
David, I hate to mention a certain Twitter bet between you and Dave Zabriskie.
Did he win?
He's kind of won by a margin, 3 or 4 minutes, I think.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm an inferior time trialist to Dave Zabriskie. It's a fact.
So you could be happy with that?
Yeah, well, it's the only way I could get motivated, to be honest.
Well, win, lose or cough himself to pieces, David Miller always gives good post-race interview. He clearly wasn't going to contend, but the Spanish time trial champion Luis Leon Sanchez was. He set a time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, 3 seconds, and that was still the best time, with every rider but one either finished or out on the road.
The biggest moment in cycling history for sure. For Bradley Wiggins, the biggest moment of his career, though he's got Olympic golds and World Championship golds on the track. This is the Tour de France. Wiggins knows now he is a matter of 53 kilometres away from being the first British winner of the Tour de France. Proud moment indeed. He's waiting for the countdown, and he goes out of the start house, last of the 153 riders, the privileged position of the leader of the Tour de France.
Well, the choice of equipment, Phil, a solid disc wheel at the back, 3 battened wheel at the front, and the crowd, I think, were on his side.
The countdown. History in the making now. The man in all yellow, with parts of his bike in yellow as well, settles down now to lay down the final foundations of victory tomorrow in Paris.
What you have to understand is this is not a 53.5 kilometre race this afternoon. This is the result of riding 2,500 miles or 3,500 kilometres around France, and now he has to put it all on the line over 53.5 kilometres. But this is a domain that he is used to. He's used to riding on his own. He won an Olympic gold medal in the pursuit on 2 occasions, and that's over 4,000 metres, and he did that in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. This man knows how to ride very, very fast on his own.
There is the time of Evans, and he's a minute 10 off the time of Luis Leon Sanchez, so it's not a good start for Cadel.
Looking now at the effort of Chris Froome, he gets down very, very low indeed. He's a tall, skinny figure. He grew up in Nairobi, Kenya, at 6,000 feet in altitude, lived there till he was a teenager. His parents moved down to South Africa, where he took up cycling and developed a love for the sport before moving to Europe, and he was trained at the UCI Training Centre.
Well, Chris Froome has done the ride, and now what is Bradley Wiggins going to do? He's about 2 minutes from arriving at the same point. The last man in here, he is flying through the streets here in France, bound towards Chartres. It's not far from the check now. He passes the 40 kilometres to go. At the first check, it is Chris Froome best time, 17 minutes 1 second. Watch the banner, because that should give it away before we get it on the computer. It's in the sky below Festina, and what is it? 16:49, surely not. That's 11 seconds quicker than Froome.
Well, it's actually 12 seconds quicker than Froome, and you can see the flags are actually starting to pick up now, Phil, at this time of the afternoon. He has gone through there very, very quickly indeed, Bradley Wiggins. I don't believe this, Phil, because TJ Van Garderen is about to catch his team captain and team leader, Cadel Evans. What a difference a year makes.
Well, it is amazing, isn't it? Cadel Evans, I would suggest his heart isn't in it after winning the Tour de France. 6th place isn't the great attraction. It might be. And TJ Van Garderen, in what is a very short stretch of time, just on 30 kilometres of racing, He has bridged a gap of 3 minutes. It is incredible. Froome is driving like a tractor through the second time check here. What's it going to be? The best time still is Luis Leon Sanchez, 37 minutes 39 seconds. As he comes up, look at the face, as he looks calm, cool and collected. And look at the clock, it is going to be close, but he's doing the best time by 4 seconds, 37.35, only Wiggins to come. There's the time of Froome, 37.35. I think we're going to see a tornado pass through. And just look at the face of Luis Leon Sanchez. He smiles at the finishing line as he watches the same pictures as we do. As Wiggins heads up now, this determined, well, what we call him, the Terminator now, as he races up towards the line. Wiggins turns up to the clock, 36.31. Froome conceded just a few seconds at the previous check, but Wiggins seems now to have ridden for the best time at this check.
He will want to get every last little bit of energy. He's 53 seconds faster than his teammate Chris Froome at that check. Van Garderen fading a little bit, but he has improved, I say, Phil, over the last part of this course. He's looking at the time now of Richie Porte.
Van Garderen was quicker at the first check than Luis Leon Sanchez. That's gone now, and Luis Leon can see this rider come in. He's beaten him as he races up towards the line, but nonetheless, it has been a show of defiance by this young man. He started probably a little bit too quickly. He wanted that fourth place finish in the Tour. His time is 1:06.47 for the 5th best time for TJ Van Garderen.
Well, that's what he was looking for. Cadel Evans coming in here, Phil, behind the man that started 3 minutes behind him this afternoon. And Cadel Evans will still ride all the way to the finishing line here. Been a tough day for Cadel, I would have to say. 48. He's lost 4 minutes in this long time trial.
It's been a brilliant tour for this man. And one begs the question, why have we had to wait 99 editions of the Tour de France to get a British winner? Now, at the last check, Chris Froome, it's already gone through, and it is 1:15. I was about to say at the last check, it was 54 seconds. Now it is 1:15. Wiggins has pulled out even more over Chris Froome. As he comes home, he might even scrape into the top 12 here, and that's the quality of a man fighting the podium. As he comes round that bend and continues up the climb to the finish, he has done enough to keep third in the Tour de France, and I think that's not far off. His ambition, of course, was to win it, but now with a 14th place today, a loss of 1:47 to the Spanish champion. And now look at this, because not very far behind him, he started 3 minutes back of him. Chris Froome is approaching the finish here, and this is the time which will take Luis Leon Sanchez off the leaderboard. This confirms his second place in Paris. He hits the line with the best time for now, 34 seconds quicker than Luis Leon Sanchez.
Well, you know, Phil, just looking at these riders here, it makes you think that the Olympic Games individual time trial is going to be a very dramatic race. It's not in a 3-week stage race like the Tour de France, but we're seeing some phenomenal performances. 1:05.29 for Chris Froome is a phenomenal performance, but you know what? In 1 minute's time, Bradley Wiggins is going to get to the finish line because he's gone under 1,000 meters to go.
And he has never, ever faltered, as he didn't in the other time trial, which he won in the yellow jersey. But this one in the yellow jersey is it, because tomorrow he changes the yellow jersey as leader to yellow jersey as the first British winner of the Tour de France. It is cheers all of the way, and I can tell you an awful lot of these people are from the United Kingdom.
Well, he will not stop until he's crossed that line. He wants to raise the bar very, very high here this afternoon. He's extending his lead over everybody else in the Tour de France, but this was ridden for pride. This was ridden for tradition. This was ridden to prove that he's the strongest man in the Tour de France 2012.
He turns for home now. It just goes outside at 1 hour 4 minutes. It's a winning ride. It's a winning ride to win the Tour de France, as Bradley Wiggins licks his lips in anticipation and punches the sky. You don't often see that in a time trial, but you've just seen the winner of the Tour de France cross the line.
Look at that. That's the first real sign we've had of emotion from Bradley Wiggins since we left Liège about 3 weeks ago.
There's no more challenges on this route for him now, just champagne on the streets of France.
Actually, there was one more thing, the Tour de France equivalent of Christmas Eve. because whether you're the race winner or just a domestique who's barely managed to make it round, in order to ride into Paris, you have to start somewhere outside.
It was to a budget hotel in an industrial estate on the outskirts of Chartres that the winner of the 2012 Tour returned at around about 7:30 last night. Once there, he headed straight for the mechanics, still hard at work preparing the bikes for today's final stage. After a few words with them, he then retreated from sight, seeking out the sanctuary every bike rider craves at the end of the day, the massage. Well, it would have been a sanctuary had we not poked our lens and microphone into that tiny space. There, Bradley Wiggins, clad in his Wigan Warriors training top, was trying hard to take it all in.
They'll never get any better than this. To win the Tour for the first time, be the first British winner of the Tour. You know, I'm trying to sum it all up in words, you know, because well, what's it like, you know, but I've gone out and put, I think, a world-class performance together in an hour time trial with all that, everything else that's gone on the last couple of weeks as well, and to finish it off like that, in that style, I think that's what I'm good at doing. I don't want my life fundamentally to change. I don't want to become a celebrity. I don't want to go on game shows. I don't want to do all this, that and the other. I just want to be remembered as someone who won the Tour de France and was good at what he did. And I like to think, excuse my language, there's no bullshit with me. You know, so what you see is what you get, and people either like it or they don't like it. And I'm a pretty honest person. I'm pretty open, and I think I like to think that what I've achieved here, I've been as honest as I can be and as frank as I can be. Maybe not in the most articulate sense at times, but I really want this to go down in history for the right reasons and not for a lot of the reasons people were hinting at in the first week when we were performing. And I think that's it really, yeah. You know, I've said it before, I'm just a kid from Kilburn really, who hasn't gone on to win the Tour de France, so yeah. Thank you, Ned. Thanks for it.
After that, then dinner. Hamburgers were on the menu last night, and a speech from Dave Brailsford.
So I think we should focus on today. I think we should focus on the brilliant performances today. There's a big opportunity for Mark tomorrow. It's your home ground. We haven't lost for a while there, and I'm sure we're all right behind it tomorrow to make sure. Never lost there. They've never lost there. There you go. Bradley, Crewmey, super job today.
Just took us 3 weeks.